Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a fully fledged Diablo experience on mobile, which everybody will get to play.
These are the worst strings ever.
You're the worst strings ever. Hello everyone, we're back.
What's going
Talking
on?
about
Oh, we're recording.
the one and only. We're recording right now. We're talking about the one and only Diablo Immortal. Now, if I remember correctly, Alec, you have some sort of connection with Diablo Immortal.
I think it's really good.
If you guys remember, to go back, we'll do the drop first, okay? We're going to talk about Diablo Immortal. We're doing impressions. I've played about 30 hours now, maybe like 35 hours. You've played about, what, 8 or 9?
Probably like 9 or so, I'd say.
6 or 9, something like that. Let's get into it, guys. Under the drop. Alright, so let's start with the whole elephant in the room. We're not talking about you.
But are we?
No. The red shirt guy. So how that all went down. We can all agree before we get into this into this review that yes, Blizzard did not handle the way that they showed the game. Everyone was expecting a new PC Diablo 4. They didn't show anything like that. They just walked in with a mobile game. Blizzard knew full well also that there's a stigma around mobile games, and people feel like, of course, it's like a substitute. It's not the real deal. Everyone's excited to see new Diablo, and that's what they gave us. We can all agree on that.
I think in order to address our impressions, with Diablo Immortal, I think it's important to touch on the announcement to sort of contextualize at least my opinions on Diablo Immortal, and maybe yours. I don't know if I speak for you. About it being a mobile game. So there was obviously the uproar.
Yeah.
This, first and foremost, to me, it feels like a mobile game.
Well, I was just going to say, let's just start with what we were expecting. When we saw the announcement, when we saw how much of a giant meme this thing is, and I memed the hell out of it, I thought it was just going to be a complete dumpster fire because it looked like Blizzard was selling out. It was just putting one of their most valuable IP onto mobile just to make a lot of money, and it was just going to be some shitty copy, and it wasn't actually going to be representing anything of real value. But I think I've actually been proven wrong here. I really think that since I've played it, I've been blown away by how much they've put time and effort into this mobile port of Diablo.
Well, I think high-level thoughts is that
High-level thoughts?
it feels like a mobile game,
Yep.
whilst also feeling like Diablo.
Yes.
It certainly feels like Diablo. I went into it, so I played the first closed alpha.
You stop manspreading, by the way? The camera's just catching that manspread. Can you not?
I can go wider.
Go.
I played the alpha, the first release of the closed alpha. Mm-hmm. I want to say that was at least 6 months ago, maybe like around June, July last year.
December was when it started.
No, it would have been around August.
Really?
Yeah, June, July, August.
I only got the invite last week.
Yeah, I applied and I somehow got it. And anyway, so I played a bit of it back then. So I went into this.
Expecting.
In terms of my expectations, in terms of what I expected back then and what I'm seeing now, it hasn't really changed. Mm-hmm. I expected it to be a mobile game, and it feels a lot more Diablo than I anticipated, which is a welcome addition.
Yeah. And do you feel like Diablo Ported is actually working? Would you say that this is actually working as a Diablo on mobile?
I think if this was on any other platform, it would feel pretty close to a Diablo experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Diablo 3 on Switch because it's the best place to play. No.
I was gonna say, people are gonna be like, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
It's also on PC.
No.
But what you are saying, it is.
I played it on Switch. I played Diablo 3 on Switch.
Yeah.
I think if I was playing Diablo Immortal on the Switch, it wouldn't really feel like too different of an experience. I think an important point to mention is that a lot of the monetization models that will be introduced in the game, such as the Battle Pass and things like that, they're obviously not live yet, given the game's in alpha.
Yeah, we don't really know that yet.
It's hard to say whether or not the experience that I'm having now as a Diablo experience will change and become a casino-y kind of experience.
Yep.
It's too early to tell.
And look, Blizzard is of course owned by Activision, so we can expect something along those lines. You're right in saying that, because we're in alpha, we can see there is a battle pass that says coming soon, but we're not really sure how much that battle pass or how much monetization is going to play a big role. After playing 30 hours, I'm level 43 or something on one of my characters and level 28 on another. At no point have I felt like I need to actually spend yet.
Well, you can't. That's the thing.
That's
so
what I mean.
We don't know if the alpha has been tuned to a more traditional, normal Diablo experience, and then maybe closer to launch or after launch, they will, Ubisoft it and change things
XP boosters
after the
and
fact
shit like that.
to, because there are orbs that you can pick up that hasten you, so you can move through the world faster. Am I going to be able to buy those so I can just grind quicker? I feel like the sky is the limit in terms of what they can do, in terms of what they can charge you for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of their restraint, and the simple fact is we don't know that yet.
Exactly. But look, if we put that aside and we actually agree that it does feel pretty Diablo for a mobile game, what about the movement, attacking, controls in general? I think it really feels like I've been playing a lot of Wild Rift 2, and I was really blown away by how much they were able to port that over in terms of a MOBA game and League of Legends to mobile. I feel like this also is really accurate. It feels like you want to do a certain thing without, if you've got a huge mob of enemies, you still have a lot of control, just like I would have had on Switch, and kind of how much I would have had on PC, if I'm being real.
I hate the touchscreen.
But you don't like mobile, though.
I hate the touchscreen controls. I really hate them.
Why is that?
I just hate them. I don't like playing games on my phones, and that ultimately is the issue that I have with Diablo Immortal. Is that I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with the game, at least from what I've played 10 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like playing games on my phone.
And
I think that's going to be the big sticking point for myself, and I dare say a lot of other people. Well, you, however, Sam's finished Diddy Kong Racing on a touchscreen. He beat WizPig. All he does is play games on his phone.
I like playing portable experiences on my phone.
Me too, but
Ocarina of Time, all that kind of stuff. I'm happy to do that on my phone because you can actually, put certain things to the volume keys.
I use nothing more than my Switch.
Okay, fine.
I use nothing more than my Switch. I love gaming handheld. I think it is unbelievable.
But it
perfectly suits my lifestyle.
You must agree, but when we jumped on and started playing Diablo, the accuracy on that. We're not talking about how long you can play the mobile game for. That's a separate question. But when you are playing it, did you feel like it was actually really accurate and really spot on in terms of how you want it to feel on a mobile experience? Because for me, it certainly was.
Well, look, the merit of its successes as a mobile control scheme, a touchscreen control scheme, I would say yes, it's probably successful, but I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There are many things that function perfectly as intended, but just aren't to someone's taste, and I fall into that category. It functions as intended. I would say it's a good touchscreen control system.
Yes,
I don't like it.
I would say that when we were playing it, you're like, bro, I need a break. When we finished last night, I continued playing for another 3 or 4 hours. I'm happy to do that. I think there's going to be certain people that walk into that that kind of sit in that camp where they're able to do 4 or 5 hours on a mobile. It doesn't really get in the way with you because you've got big fat sausage fingers. It's probably getting in the way a lot more.
But that's a good point. I've got the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. I've got one of the biggest phones that you can have on the market. This thing's it's a behemoth.
Size matters.
Look at this thing. It's huge. It's as big as my head.
But the thing is, your hands are so big, people don't actually see how big that phone is.
But look at my head. I got a beautiful big head.
Terrible.
It's large and sure, it fits well in my hands, but I just feel like give me buttons on the side. And Blizzard haven't got controller support.
I don't think they have yet, but that may come in the future. What about doing raids, Rift quests, the Rift area where you can do small little dungeons that take 10 minutes? I think that from a mobile experience, it's a lot quicker than you would usually see from a Diablo game. But it's it's finally tuned for a mobile experience. If I'm waiting for a bus or if I'm about to go to bed or I just want to jump on for 10 minutes, it feels like it's kind of in the right spot in terms of how long it takes to do a quest.
I think that's a really good point. I think as a game that you can jump in and maybe play 15-20 minutes when you're taking a break from work, as you say, waiting for a bus, or you might be sitting on the John. That's where I play most of my Switch. I think it really does a good job of pacing each of its activities to those small time limits. I think the problem for me is that a lot of these activities feel the same. And so maybe it's a psychological thing. When I'm doing the same thing for 40 minutes and that's one quest, or I'm doing the same thing for 40 minutes and it's broken up as 3 quests, to me it just feels more repetitive, where it obviously isn't. I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But because they're smaller, and there's very little differences between each one. I mean, Diablo is Diablo. You go through dungeons, you kill things.
Yes.
It just feels, I don't know, to me a bit It's repetitive.
Well, I want to say off the
I
back
like
of that,
Diablo, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I want to say off the back of that I think the issue I have with this right now is it's so unbelievably on rails. Like, you know, every single quest, it tells you exactly where to go. There's no real exploration. There's this dumbed down feel of it where it's just wanting to tell you exactly what you do at any time. You can press the navigation once you've like done enough quests in a particular region where it literally just walks you there. There's such like a, you can be in such a vegetative state and be watching TV and barely looking at the phone, and before you know it, you have done a lot of quests and progressed through the story, which we won't go in today. But that is one thing that I think it's almost like they didn't trust them. They didn't trust that the mobile game that they're making would be taken seriously enough because it's on mobile. It's almost like they know and they're aware of the stigma of mobile. And they went into the corner of making sure it was super accessible, super quick, and super just like dumbed down. You know,
we were playing last night, and the main thing I said to Sam was, my issue is with this game is that I feel like it plays itself. I mean, obviously I'm very early in the game. There's basically no challenge by design because it's early levels.
But even when I'm 42 now, which is another thing, is the XP curve has really gone up. It's taken me ages to get on, and I'm waiting for the next quest line.
Are you having difficulties?
I'm not having difficulties
with the encounters.
That's what I was saying. Like, as I'm getting on to the end of the level experience, I'm not really feeling like there's a lot of difficulty there. I don't know if that's because it's an alpha and people, they just want to have, they want people to have a good time, you know? That may change in the future, but right now, I'm not really feeling that. And another thing on the side, glitches and bugs. Have you really experienced many? Remember we were trying to connect voice chat? That was an issue. We had to restart it. But apart from that, very minimal bugs and glitches actually that I've seen from this.
I got a Note 20 Ultra. It's a very good phone. The game ran like shit for me.
I have
He had no issues.
I have a Samsung Ultra.
You got an S20 Ultra?
S20, not the
Mine's 6 months newer. I know there's nothing wrong with my phone. I'm assuming it's just
all that
some level of optimization.
Homework videos that you got.
I'm assuming that it's optimization. Obviously, it's in alpha, but my game ran really well last year on my Galaxy S10, and it runs like dog shit on this phone.
There's every chance that they're trying.
I don't know. Obviously, these can be ironed out. They invariably will be, but worth mentioning. I was getting frame rate drops all the time.
Just back onto the whole Blizzard.
And it's without controls as well. Frame rate drops feel so annoying because you're thinking, is this touchscreen shit or is it frame rate drop?
Yeah.
So you feel like the button controls aren't working, where sometimes they are, but the game's just not doing anything.
Just back onto Blizzard, how they handled the reveal of this and how poorly it was received. I think they've really gone back here because there was some time, at least a year or a year and a half, we didn't hear anything about this. And a lot of people like myself thought, okay, it's been cancelled. They know it was a bad mistake. What I think they've actually done is they've gone back and really made sure that this is actually going to be a high quality mobile experience. So I think that the backlash that a lot of people gave this may have actually made this game a lot more high quality in a weird way. Do you know what I mean? Because they knew the stakes were high, you know?
Again, I said to you last night, this game's existence screams Activision to me. It screams to me that they need to get licenses onto mobiles. They've got Call of Duty on mobile. Overwatch on mobile wouldn't work. WoW on mobile wouldn't work.
Well, look, they have said, Blizzard has said that they're kind of working on every major IP they have to try and bring it to mobile. That's important to remember.
Yeah, I wonder whose motivation that is.
I'm sure.
This just feels
I'm not saying that that's
like
a good
Activision.
thing.
And, I mean, whatever. Like, it could be amazing. The monetization models could be fair. I doubt it. It could be improved, in many bits. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not to my taste. They could make improvements that tailor, the experience to someone like me, that, would never touch a mobile game ever with a 10-foot pole. And it's not because I don't like the platform, I just don't like using my phone.
Yeah, I think there's a stigma attached to this.
Yeah, I think mobile gaming is a perfectly valid platform to play games
This is the
on.
thing,
I have no issues with the platform.
Yeah.
I don't want to play a dungeon crawler on my phone. It's not what I want to do.
I wanted to do a review today of the alpha, of course, it's not fully released. Like an unemotional one, like away from the whole how bad they how they held the launch, and actually just talk about what this game is and does it represent a decent representation of Diablo on mobile. And I think we can all agree is as long as they also, whatever IP they want to bring out on mobile in the future, as long as they couple that up with an actual PC or console launch of the IP that we all know and love from Blizzard or from anybody, I'm okay with a mobile counterpart existing.
If it's good and people enjoy it, good. That's great. Like, I'm just saying it's not for me. I want to play. I want to play with mouse and keyboard. I want to play with Joy-Cons.
I hear you. What I'm saying
think
is,
what they've done here, at the risk of repeating myself, they've done a very good job of translating the Diablo experience to mobiles.
Yeah.
I just don't like playing on my mobile.
So, okay, I guess in closing, do you think this is going to be a success when it comes out? I think it will be.
Well, do you think it feels like Diablo?
On mobile, when I'm like
separate from that?
Yes, it does. I think it does. I think it actually accomplishes...
Because you played a lot more Diablo than I played Diablo. I haven't played a lot of Diablo. I played Diablo 3. I think I finished Diablo 2 when I was a kid. So, I mean...
I finished all the Diablos. I finished all the Diablos, and I finished Diablo 3 up to, like... I can't remember how much. I did it 4 or 5. I don't know, right? But I've done it a lot when it came out in 2013 or whatever. So I kind of have a lot of experience with Diablo, and I played this and thought, this is not a bad alternative when I'm not next to my PC. So much so that I'm actually, because it's new, I'm preferring this compared to maybe going back to Diablo 3 and playing it. There's a lot of architecture and there's a lot of enemy design and a lot of ideas that they've taken straight out of Diablo 3, by the way. Like the three blue kind of enemies and then the gold elite enemy. All that kind of stuff, and like the orbs that drop on the ground, like it looks so much like Diablo 3 in so many ways. They've just obviously didn't want to fix something that's not broken, even though some people didn't love Diablo 3. A lot of aspects of that really worked, and I think they've done that.
It's definitely got the Diablo DNA. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And I think to answer your question, will this be a success? Well, I think so far it is a success in translating the experience that we've been doing for 20 years onto a mobile device. I think ultimately, will it be a success? I really do think it will.
Because I think if people get past the stigma, it'll be successful.
But not even that. I think it is, so far, I've only played 10 hours, I think it's a very good game.
You completely black. You said that you didn't like it, you didn't want to play it.
I don't like playing games on mobile. It's not for me.
Okay.
I can say that, what's an example? Celery is a great vegetable, but I hate celery. I think it needs to go to hell, but everyone loves it.
Pun intended with the hell, yeah. Sure.
So celery is... This game to me is celery.
Okay.
It's perfectly fine at what it wants to do. It's spicy water, but it's not for me. I don't find it... It doesn't work for my tastes. And so I think Diablo Immortal is a good game. I think the quests feel like Diablo, the dungeon crawling feels like Diablo, the abilities that you get and the loot grind so far it feels like Diablo, but it's just not for me. I think it will be for a lot of other players who are happy to play games on mobile and want that 15-minute, 20-minute something to do while they're going about their day and waiting for things. I think it will fill a gap for that player really well.
Just like MOBA has for Wild Rift,
Yeah. And I ultimately do think it'll be a success.
All right.
But yeah, I think the final point is that it remains to be seen upon launch and the months after how they monetize this product, because
that will be
you
the
normally pay $60 for Diablo and you're playing for years. If I'm downloading this game for free and a bunch of other people are, how are they making their money? How are they making a net $60 from every person that are playing it to make it worth their while?
Yeah.
And that's what I think the most interesting thing to keep an eye on is up until the
I couldn't agree more.
launch of this product.
I couldn't agree more, but we'll have to see what happens. But I think we should do an actual review of this when it actually comes out and see what the monetization is like. I don't know when it's actually coming out.
I cannot wait to play more of this game.
I think it's only in closed alpha in Australia. I don't know if any other
places. Yeah,
it's
very limited regions. I know that the first
How the hell did you get in, big boy? They obviously saw the video
questions.
And they were like, "Oh fuck, we better show him. We better send him a copy."
Bro, I literally just applied to the open alpha.
Me too. I don't know how I got it.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway,
I know.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time. ThiccBoi will probably be more on the couch, sitting on the couch. We're going to be doing a
We're gonna
review.
need a bigger couch.
We're going to be doing a review of something in the future too. I don't know what we're going to do. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Love, appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Laymen out.
Bye.